Your first sensation is dampness and darkness. You emerge from your mother's body into a hollow chamber carved deep within a towering tree, somewhere in the mist-shrouded forests of the Himalayan foothills. The den sits high above the ground, a secret pocket in the ancient trunk where your mother has carefully arranged cushions of moss, shredded bark, and dried foliage. Your sibling arrives moments later, tumbling into the nest beside you. Both of you are born helpless, eyes sealed shut, legs too weak to support your weight. You instinctively press against each other and nestle into your mother's warm underbelly. She responds by coiling her magnificent ringed tail around both of you, creating a protective cocoon. But maternal duties extend beyond the den. Your mother rises, her movements careful not to disturb you too much. The exit is nothing more than a narrow fissure in the trunk, barely accommodating her rust-colored body as she squeezes through. You hear the scraping of claws against wood as she descends head first, her grip secure as she vanishes into the labyrinth of branches below. In the darkness, you and your sibling remain perfectly still, an evolutionary instinct that keeps you silent and safe. Time becomes meaningless in this lightless world. Eventually, your mother returns. The scent reaches you first, the fresh green smell of bamboo leaves clenched between her jaws. She wriggles back through the entrance and immediately begins grooming you, her textured tongue working across your damp fur, removing the remnants of birth. Then she stops abruptly. A new sound, scratching, climbing, approaching. Something is ascending the tree trunk with deliberate intent. Through the entrance appears a narrow, pointed face with bright eyes and exposed fangs. A yellow-throated marten, a relentless predator that has learned tree hollows often contain vulnerable prey. Your mother launches herself forward with explosive force, her claws raking across the intruder's face. The marten recoils, but doesn't retreat. Instead, it circles the trunk, searching for another angle of attack. It lunges again, pushing deeper into the entrance. Your mother becomes a living barrier, her body filling the gap, her teeth snapping at the marten's throat whenever it ventures too close. But the predator is cunning and persistent. During one particularly aggressive attempt, its jaws snap past your mother's defenses and clamp down on your sibling's hind leg.
The marten pulls. Your mother pulls back. Your sibling is caught between them, a living rope in a deadly contest. Finally, your mother's greater strength prevails, yanking your sibling back into the safety of the nest. But victory comes with a price. Your sibling's leg is mangled, a deep tear exposing muscle and bone. Blood seeps into the nest material below. Your mother licks the wound frantically, attempting to clean and seal it, but you can hear the change in your sibling's breathing. Shallow, labored, weakening. Below, you hear the marten moving through the branches. It hasn't gone far. It knows where you are, and the den offers no alternative escape route. Entering the world, 3 months. Your eyes opened weeks ago, revealing the confined space you've called home. Your legs have grown stronger, capable now of supporting your weight. Today, your mother approaches the entrance and turns to look at you, an unmistakable invitation. Your sibling hasn't moved in many days. You follow your mother out onto the branch, leaving behind the only world you've known. The sensory overload is immediate. Brilliant light filtering through the canopy, the coarse texture of bark beneath your paw pads, the vertiginous drop to the distant forest floor. Each step requires concentration. You watch how your mother distributes her weight, how her claws hook into the bark for stability, and you attempt to replicate her movements. She begins ascending toward the bamboo growing near the treetop, and you follow, despite your legs trembling with exertion. Reaching toward a tempting bamboo leaf suspended above the branch, your paw makes contact with smooth bark instead of rough. Your grip fails. You tumble sideways, claws desperately grasping until they catch on a lower branch. You dangle there, heart pounding, legs scrambling for purchase. A blur of russet fur, another red panda launches itself from a neighboring tree, landing on the branch above you with aggressive intent. The stranger descends rapidly toward your vulnerable position. Your mother intercepts, climbing between you and the threat. Both adults rise onto their hind legs, front paws striking at each other in midair, each trying to knock the other off balance on the precarious perch. The wood beneath them groans under the combined weight. Then, crack, the branch fractures. Both adults plummet through the understory, smaller branches breaking their fall before they hit the ground with heavy impacts. Your mother recovers first. She chases the intruder away, then immediately climbs back to you. Her nose nudges you gently, guiding you back toward the den where your sibling's body remains motionless.
The lesson is unmistakable. This forest is densely populated with others of your kind, and they defend their territories with violence. Learning the forest, 6 months. Your sibling's body was carried away by your mother weeks ago. Now you move through the forest as a pair, mother and sole surviving offspring. She leads you down from your high den toward a dense thicket of bamboo growing in the valley between ancient trees. At the base of a mature stalk, she demonstrates the feeding technique that will sustain your life. She bites into the stem, her teeth stripping away the tough outer leaves to access the tender shoots at the top, which she chews methodically with her rear molars. You approach a nearby stalk and attempt to replicate her actions. You bite down hard, but your teeth cannot penetrate the fibrous outer layer. You try again, biting harder, jaw muscles straining. Your mother gently pushes you aside with her snout, directing your attention to a younger shoot emerging near the ground. You bite down on this softer target, and it yields easily, the tender interior finally providing the nutrition you desperately need. A sudden explosive crash. A Himalayan black bear barrels through the bamboo thicket, snapping mature stalks like matchsticks. The bear is heading directly toward the patch where you're feeding. Your mother immediately ceases chewing and begins backing away slowly, moving toward the nearest climbable tree. You follow her lead, but inexperience betrays you. Your paw comes down on a desiccated branch hidden beneath leaves. The sharp crack echoes through the forest like a gunshot. The bear's head swings toward the sound. It rises on its hind legs, standing over 2 meters tall, its small eyes focused directly on you. It drops back to all fours and charges. Your mother reaches the tree trunk and ascends with practiced speed, claws finding purchase on the bark. You scramble after her, climbing desperately while the bear's massive paw swipes at the trunk below, its claws missing your hindquarters by centimeters. You remain in the branches for hours, waiting until the sun approaches the horizon and the bear finally loses interest and lumbers away. When you finally descend, you discover the feeding area has been completely destroyed. Stalks broken and scattered, shoots trampled into the earth. Red pandas must eat almost continuously throughout the day to extract sufficient nutrition from their bamboo diet. You must locate new feeding grounds immediately or face starvation. Exile. 1 year. Your mother no longer permits your presence. Several weeks ago, she began attacking you whenever you attempted to follow her. Claws extended, teeth bared, the message unmistakable. You are alone now, wandering through unfamiliar territory, searching for unclaimed land. Winter has descended on the mountains. Snow obscures the ground, making food scarce and difficult to locate. You discover a promising bamboo patch growing between 2 large trees and begin feeding desperately. You've barely eaten in 3 days. Then, you notice the scent marks on the surrounding bark. This territory belongs to another red panda. You're trespassing and stealing food. You continue eating anyway.
Hunger overrides caution. A larger male appears from the canopy above, dropping onto the branch in front of you. His teeth are visible, his posture aggressive. He charges without warning. You attempt to retreat, but he's considerably faster and more experienced. His teeth find your shoulder, and his momentum knocks you backwards into the snow. You twist and slash at his face with your claws, leaving red lines across his nose. But he's significantly stronger, pinning you down with his weight until you cease struggling and go completely limp in submission.
Only then does he release you. He backs away slowly, watching as you struggle to your feet and retreat from his territory. You walk through the snow until you locate a small area of frost-damaged bamboo growing near a rock outcropping. The quality is poor, but you begin eating it anyway, trying to fill the gnawing void in your stomach. In a tree above, you spot a bird's nest containing 3 eggs. You climb up and consume them quickly, precious protein. Winter has barely begun, and you've already lost significant body mass. The flowering, 2 years. You've managed to establish a small territory over recent months, following the same feeding routes each day, gradually building familiarity with your domain. Then catastrophe arrives. The bamboo begins flowering. White blooms appear almost overnight, covering the forest in an ethereal blanket. It seems beautiful at first, but within weeks, every bamboo stalk in your territory turns brown and dies. Bamboo species sometimes flower synchronously across vast areas, then die back entirely, a phenomenon that can devastate red panda populations. You're forced to abandon your territory and venture into completely unknown regions, traveling farther from safety than you've ever been. You discover a grove of oak trees with acorns scattered across the ground beneath them. You begin eating these alongside whatever remnant bamboo shoots you can locate, not ideal nutrition, but sufficient to prevent starvation. A nearby flock of blood pheasants suddenly erupts into panicked flight, wings beating frantically. You look up instinctively. A clouded leopard rests on a branch directly overhead, its dappled coat providing perfect camouflage. Its eyes are locked onto your position. The leopard drops. You sprint toward the nearest tree trunk and climb with every ounce of speed you possess, claws digging deep into bark. The leopard pursues you upward, but you continue climbing until you reach branches too slender to support the predator's greater weight. Then you move laterally, leaping across a gap to an adjacent tree, landing on a connecting branch. You spend the remainder of the day in the treetops, moving through the canopy where the leopard cannot follow. As the sun begins its descent, you look down and notice a valley below, where bamboo still grows green and healthy. You'll have to abandon your burned-out former territory and relocate down there. But valleys collect water, and water attracts animals far more dangerous than clouded leopards. Mating, 3 years. Winter concludes and your body undergoes changes you don't fully understand. You find yourself marking trees more frequently, using scent glands located on your paw pads and beneath your tail. Then one day, you detect a female's scent on a tree trunk, a scent that triggers something primal in your brain. You follow the trail through the forest until you locate her resting on a branch. But you're not alone. Another male is already there, circling the tree below, leaving his own scent markers. He begins climbing toward the female from one direction, so you ascend from the opposite side. You meet halfway on the same branch. Both of you rise onto your hind legs, tails puffed to maximum size to appear larger. You open your mouths, displaying teeth in a ritualistic threat display. He charges along the branch. You don't retreat. You meet him in the center, and both of you grapple with front claws, each trying to push the other off balance. You bite down on his shoulder while he scratches at your face. Both of you struggle for dominance on the narrow wood. Then you manage to shove him sideways. His grip fails and he tumbles to a lower branch, where he remains, watching from below, but not attempting another assault. The female remains on her branch, observing. You climb toward her slowly, cautiously.
She doesn't flee or attack, so you move closer. You stay with her for 2 days before she drives you away with slashing claws, forcing you back to your own territory. Red pandas can only mate during a 1 or 2 day window each year. Somewhere in these mountains, your offspring will be born next spring, but you will never see them or know they exist.
You've lived in the same territory for years now, comfortable and established. You feed on familiar bamboo patches and sleep in a hollow high in an ancient oak. One afternoon, smoke begins drifting through the branches around you. You climb down to investigate and see orange light flickering through the trees below. Fire, moving uphill rapidly, consuming dry grass and leaf litter. You climb back up and move higher into branches where the smoke is thinner, but the flames reach the base of your tree, igniting the bark. The heat becomes unbearable. You leap across to the next tree before the flames consume your refuge. You continue moving through the treetops, leaping from branch to branch, staying ahead of the advancing inferno. The smoke thickens, obscuring your vision and burning your throat and lungs. When you reach a rocky area with no vegetation to burn, you climb down and squeeze into a gap between 2 large boulders. You remain there while the fire sweeps past on both sides. Hours later, you emerge to find your entire territory destroyed. Bamboo reduced to blackened stems, the ground covered in ash. The forest will eventually regenerate, but that will take years. You begin walking downhill toward the villages where bamboo still grows green near the forest edge. You're entering a new kind of danger now, one that doesn't climb trees or flee from fire. For 2 years, you've survived near the village boundary, feeding on bamboo that grows in the transitional zone between forest and farmland. One evening, walking along a familiar trail toward a feeding area, something snaps tight around your front leg. You're yanked violently sideways and slammed into the ground. A wire loop closes around your ankle, cutting through fur into flesh. You twist violently, biting at the wire with your teeth, but it only tightens. You pull in every direction, dragging yourself in circles through the dirt while the wire digs progressively deeper into your leg. At dawn, a man walks down the trail, checking traps he set for musk deer. He finds you instead. He approaches with a wooden club. You attempt to stand. He swings. Everything stops. He removes the wire from your mangled leg and carries you down the mountain, your body dangling from a rope slung over his shoulder. Your russet fur will be sold in a market somewhere. The rest of you will be discarded in a ditch outside the village. This is how your story ends, not from the teeth of a marten or the claws of a leopard or the flames of a forest fire, but from a piece of wire set by human hands intended for a completely different animal. You are a red panda, a bear cat in the local language, and this is the life you lived among the clouds.